Hello, and welcome to a broadcast produced by Friends of Terry Virgil. I'm Terry Virgil, your host and producer of this program. Today's episode is England Gaining Back Sovereignty. Okay, I'm not a fan of England, and I'm not a fan of Queen Elizabeth II. I'm not a fan of the Prime Minister, and I really do not care too much about the idea of a country being ruled by dictatorship like England, but I would say this much, that now that England has regained its sovereignty, yes, I know that Prime Minister Winston Churchill would be dancing in the streets on this one and celebrating, because they regained their island back. They regained their perspective back. Those people that say, well, it's going to have a ripple effect on the world economy, probably yes. That doesn't mean that there's going to be people jumping out the windows to kill themselves or commit suicide. Yes, there are consequences to these things. Yes, it is a great and joyous day to see a country regain its freedom and liberty back. The people took back their country. They took it back from dictatorship of the European Union. If you noticed, I've always struck a pretty good blow against unions. I know the word united means union as well, could mean union as well. But I also look at it this way. United freedom. United liberty means united as a nation, gaining our sovereignties back, whether you're British over in England or not. And here's the other good thing about it too. Scotland and Ireland and Wales as well can gain their freedom and liberty from the slavery and bondage of the dictatorship of Queen Elizabeth II and the Prime Minister of England. Oh, this circle of life goes around. And the circle of life is, once you are a slave, you're going to yearn for your freedom. There are those who fear for the British pound. Yes, it'll sag probably. I'm very good in economy. And yes, I could care less about whether the Dow Jones goes down by about 3 points immediately. That's 512 stocks falling. And I don't care if the S&P 500 falls. I do not care. Yes, I'd like to see the economy grow. That I do care. But you gotta have your freedom and liberty in order to do it. Entrepreneurship is the key principle to developing a good and sovereign nation. Entrepreneurship brings new beginnings, brings charted waters, not the uncharted water of slavery and bondage like the liberals would like to have, and to talk about those things that the liberals like to have and see. When you talk about unions, especially the European Union, it was based on labor unions, labor force. Once that happens, you got Marxism coming in, you got communism taking over. And as far as I'm concerned and can see, a great day has happened in England. Yes, the Prime Minister was a liberal, and as all liberals do, they are cowards and bail out. They resign because they have no other choice but to resign because they are failures. England gaining its sovereignty back means that the Queen Elizabeth II is a failure. A big fat failure. And I'm not talking about her body size, but to the economy. Yes, they could say a good recession is coming about. But here's the thing. Uncertainty is your freedom and liberty. Because it gives you the choice. The choice to regain your sovereignty or to live in slavery and bondage underneath a king and a queen or a prime minister that dictates to you how you're going to do things, how you're going to live, what clothing to buy, what food to buy, whether or not you are to support a certain organization even if you disagree with it or not. Freedom isn't just making a choice to live life with a government dictating to you. Dictatorship is one thing that cannot stand and will not stand. We saw this when the Soviet Union fell in the 1980s. We are seeing it as England has fell. Because sovereignty is based on the right to choose. A non-sovereign nation will not choose whether or not what you're going to do and what you're going to do. You have people here in the United States of America. Yes, there are ties to the European Union in business. But you know what I have to say? Too bad. Those people can work over here and work for freedom and liberty. If you want to do business overseas, I have always been in favor of higher tariffs to support the people of the United States of America, to support our government, not raising taxes for our own people. England has gained its independence, has gained its freedom. Yes, it's going to take 2 years, but those 2 years of struggle will end. That economy will bounce back. That economy will grow. That will develop into a free and sovereign nation. Freedom depends on a lot of other things too. How you worship. Whether you worship God or not. That's freedom. To choose. The right to choose. Most people in England have got to worship the way the Queen or the Prime Minister tells you to. Or that's the way it used to be. To this day, Queen Elizabeth II has brought England down. So has the Prime Minister. So has the European Union. Has depressed the people to the point where They want their freedom and liberty. I've said it best that these so-called unions of different nations is wrong. I've said it best that the United Nations is the wrong idea. Today, an island in the Atlantic has shown that you don't need the UN. You do not need NATO. You do not need to be part of a European Union, whereby all the laws come out of Belgium, Brussels, where those laws are dictated to you by somebody that's in charge of the European Union. The island may be small, but it's not weak. Many people look at it this way. It's about time. It's about time that the Europeans understand that they cannot stand and will not stand as one united Europe. Each country should have its sovereign right to tell other nations what to do and how to deal with these. England has not fallen, but it has opened its eyes to freedom and liberty. Yes, there are people like liberals like Hillary Clinton, Bernie Sanders, and the rest of the liberals and Democrats who hate to see the breakup of the European Union. All they are fearmongers. They don't like to be truthful. They don't like to be or have any integrity. And it shows. I'm not promoting Donald Trump here, but I'm going to give him a good slap on the back on this one, and attaboy, when he's in Scotland promoting his golf courses and stuff like that, and just trying to fix his company. He's trying to do that, people. Give him an attaboy on that one. I'm not a Donald Trump fan, but I'm a fan of freedom and liberty, and I'm a fan of being a good conservative. A good conservative would take care of business. The liberals are condemning that idea because he's not here. Well, he's a private businessman running a campaign, which is true. But he's got to understand, but those people got to understand one thing. It costs money to run in the election. It's going to cost thousands and millions of thousands of dollars in order to run a campaign. The liberals and Democrats seem to think that the more money a person has to use, the better their campaigning will be. It's all about how you spend your money, according to the liberals and Democrats, just like in England. Prime ministers and queens and kings dictate